Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Formula Racing League TV. Welcome back to the Taco Tuesday series, season 21, the most popular racing league on the Tuesday for Assetto Corsa Competizione console version. And we're back at Bathurst, the Mont Panorama circuit for round 2 of the season 2 tier 1. And we're back here with a few minutes left of free practice. I'm Andrea Mattavelli, and it'll be a pleasure to be back with you to commentating all the action live here in the South Wales, Australia. We're back here after round 1 that was held on Kyalami Grand Prix circuit in South Africa, where Irish won after a mistake by the man you see at the front now, Sergio Hernandez, in the late stage of the race. Irish for now is in the P15 now in the Bentley. Of course, new circuit, different type, all different whatsoever. So it will be really nice, really interesting to see how the situation develops on the grid between all these phenomenal drivers who will be competing both Tier 1 and Tier 2 all together on the track. For now, we see Serfontaine back in the pit lane with his Ford Mustangs, joined by Hagemans. Then we have Mike Ostell on his Aston Martin. Mike Ostell, winner of the DK Mountain Classes petrol event in the last event of 2025. He won in the Maserati MC20 GT2 class. For now, it's P21 in his Aston Martin Vantage. Let's see if the British driver will get a good result here, even in the competitive Taco Tuesday series, or if he'll have to fight to sweat even for a place in the top 15, as is now in P21. Of course, lots of drivers, lot of talented drivers right here, and we have a lot of Ferrari with Volkmann, Getzing, Sharp, Gierman, and Haskell all rounding up the top 6 behind the Spanish driver on the McLaren that was at Tulloch in the first 2 Bentleys that will not have apparently both for the Prentice brothers, Jack and Luke, because their team Ipswich Town is playing actually in the English Championship, and at halftime Ipswich is ahead 1-0 to Bristol City. So a little bit of community service of why the 2 Prentice brothers on the Bentleys will not be competing here this evening on the mountain of Mont Panorama. As you can see, checkered flag has fallen to the end of the free practice session. We see back in the pit lane, Geoffrey Godfrey. He'll be one to watch as back in season 19, the last time the Taco Tuesday visited Bathurst. Geoffrey Godfrey took a fantastic second place behind Rafael Arruda and ahead of drivers like Morgan Grace and Gordon Brown. So it will be really interesting to see if Godfrey can repeat the performance today, as he finished the free practice session in 14th place. And the timer is up, and we're back into action, qualifying action, ready to start here on Mont Panorama, as lot of drivers are already seeing the end of the pit lane to start their flying lap. And reminder, Sergio Hernandez took pole position in Kyalami last week. Let's see if someone will manage to beat him today at Mont Panorama, or we will see 2 out of 2 from the Spanish driver, as the drivers are approaching already the quarter band, corner number 2, turn 2 of Mont Panorama. Of course, it's not a Monte Class event, so there will be less blue flags than the DK Mountain, but we'll be able to see, especially qualifying, to wait for the blue flags and to be aware of the situation of the lap cars, the one who proceeds slow, especially between the cutting and the first level, the section that's up and down. And so we have to see if if the drivers will be warned about the surroundings here at the mountain. Of course, the track, we all know, it's the one where the GT drivers and the supercars driver dream to 6.2 kilometers and 23 turns around the track, located in the Mount Panorama, Wahoo, and it's the New South Wales region. Of course, one of the main events, the Bathurst 12 hours event that will be held on in real life next month, which last year has been won by BMW Team WRT of Wirtz and the brothers Sheldon and Kevin van der Linde with 1-2 for BMW, with a 46-second place, one with Valentino Rossi and Lello Marcello. Lello is the nickname given us by Italians. But now it's time for qualifying action, and we see, starting with the first lap, Sergio Hernandez and Seth Fontaine in the Ford Mustang that will debut in the Bathurst 12 hours with a car fielded by Haupt Racing Team, a team that was present last season in the GT Challenge, and that between the drivers that got chosen by the Ford instructor for the GT Challenge Europe program, there was also Jan Vandenborg. For the one that don't know, he was a sim racer, a gamer on Gran Turismo, who turned professional thanks to the Nissan GT Academy, and managed to get second place at the 24 hours of Le Mans, and making some results even between open wheel with a win in the GP3 series, and some results also in Japan between Super GT and Super Formula. And he's back after the success of the Sony movie about the 4040 digital franchise. He's back with a great result, great driving abilities on the Mustang for next season. Let's hope that sincerely the Cardiff driver will manage to get another year in the GT Challenge Europe, another year by Ford Racing, the new structure that comprehend also the Dakar, NASCAR, endurance programs, and also, of course, the new Red Bull Ford Powertrain division, which will supply the Red Bull Racing Boost team presented last week at Detroit. And now, talking about Mustang, Seth Fontaine will be one after Sergio Hernandez to cut the checker flag and to finish a time lap. Let's see who will set the early benchmark. Sergio Hernandez for 2 minutes 1.4. Seth Fontaine behind by 1.3 seconds. Gierman in the first of the Ferrari by half a second behind the McLaren driver. Of course, Hernandez already fast to try to set the benchmark. Volkmann in third place. Let's see, De Angelis, the Italian driver, let's see where he will finish. It's P4 ahead of Ferreira in the Mercedes. Sharp is sixth. We're waiting for more drivers. The second Ford of Hagemans is ready to close his first time lap. Let's see where will he put his Mustang. It is behind Seth Fontaine, 1.5 seconds behind Sergio Hernandez, who stays for now in the provisional pole. Hack in the Porsche is in the fifth place ahead of Godefroy, who sets for now in sixth place. King in eighth place, the Irish driver in the McLaren. And now let's wait, of course, for the big names. Adam Sharpie in 28. Let's see where he will end up. He launches now. Then let's see Irish, the winner of race 1. Currently leader, let's see, remember, champion on the season 16 of the Taco Tuesday series, who wants to be a main protagonist even this year. Let's see if we manage to push his Bentley Continental to the top step, even in Mount Panorama. As we see Walter in the Continental taking third place, just behind him by 20,000 of a second, so really minimum margins. So Irish in the top 5, slotting between Volk Good first lap for Irish, even if it's 9/10 behind. Phenomenal Sergio Hernandez, who, as I said before in Chialami, really very fast driver, very competitive, but tends to make mistakes in the critical moments of the race. So that's why he had less wins that he would have hoped for. Ferreira now reduces the gap to only 295 thousandths of a second. It's not in the P2. De Angelis is not P5. Jack King is fourth. Ida McLaren. Let's see now Geoffrey Godfroy, the Belgian driver, who will aim to repeat the performance of season 19, sorry, where it's not P2 after the regular race, or now it's P9 for the Belgian driver. Remember that Geoffrey Godfroy finished P3 in the first race of the new season. For now, no comments whatsoever. Maybe they are all just focused in the race ahead. Hopefully, I'll see a little bit more iteration, especially in the latter stages of the race. Let's see then Irish P12, but the Bentley driver, who will aim to improve his performance at the starting grid position. Is the last corner, and don't know if he slowed down. Maybe yeah, he slowed down. Maybe he's relaunching for another flying lap. For now, P12. Let's see then other drivers will manage hopefully. Stephen Müller in the Ferrari number 275, the German driver who yet to win a race here in the SimGrid platform, especially on Formula Racing League, is now starting at P19. And look at this, Sharp is in P4. Sharp in P4, just behind Fernandez, Volkmann and Ferreira. As we go back to Müller, and he improved to P15. And let's see, behind we have Sharpie, who's struggling in the first stage of qualifying. Only P29, but the McLaren driver. We're expecting a lot more from him. Let's see if he manages to improve and get a good jump into the top half of the grid. Sharpie closes it up. Let's see. He's only P29. He might be not in contention. This is as Mike Ostol closes this lap, and it's P20, so a good lap, clean lap for the Aston Martin driver. As a few time to improve Godfroy. Watch out for Godfroy, who slotted into P2, only 1/10 of a second, a little more behind Sergio Hernandez, who resists at the top of the time. 2 minutes, 1 second, 0.415. And Irish manages to beat Hernandez. 2 minutes, 1.415 by the German, who claims provisional pole in his Bentley. Let's see now if Hernandez will have something to say about that as he approaches the skyline, down now into the deeper the yeses. And Sharp goes even further down by 2.8 of a second. Sharp is now ahead of the pack in his Ferrari. It's Ferrari, Bentley, McLaren, Ferrari, Porsche, Bentley, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren in the top 10. of the provisional qualifying, but we have to wait for more action in the latest stages of this session. Let's see if Hernandez can make again all the others stand down and say, I'm the ruler of the fastest lap. He went after the race corner. Let's see Hernandez if he improves. No, not yet. Stays P3, the Spanish driver. Now closing the lap, it's also Ferreira in the Mercedes 911. And this P9 still. Now let's see by an Italian driver here, which of course we're talking about Matteo De Angelis, one of the Italian drivers protagonist in Tier 2, and for now is really protagonist with an excellent P8 on his Ferrari. And his real tires slided down the dipper, so he might get lost a little bit of time. We have to retry again, maybe in the next lap, which will be his final for today's session. Let's see now, Sharp, the driver of provisional pole. We're at 2:1.1, and he stops. He didn't improve, so he's qualifying over for the Ferrari driver. Let's see if Irish, Hernandez, or anybody else can even go further down his lap time. Oh, and the Irish got a little bit of tap with the wall, so it's pushing on the limit, the Bentley driver. And look at him, sliding with his Bentley, trying to push to his limit, to try to gain tenths of second, which will be crucial for his pole position fight. Which is the same will apply to Hernandez Godfrey. Grace goes into P4, and Hernandez strikes back, going down the 2 minutes and 1 second wall. It's a 2:0.8 by Sergio Hernandez, who might have done the lightning strike to take pole. Let's see if Irish will manage to say something about that, but it's a lap not cleared by the Bentley, who entered the pits, so it's qualifying over even for him. Let's see, Grace is now P4. Last lap even for Godfrey. Let's see then other drivers who might finish the lap. Girman in the Ferrari, number 33, not the number of Max Verstappen, because he passed to the free number, which was of Daniel Ricciardo till 2024. Girman stays P12. Let's see for the Irish, Jack King in P13 on his McLaren, if he can improve, as we're now approaching the deadline of qualifying session. Jack King really pushing hard. He got the 2 tires onto the grass, and he decides that's enough. Was into the wall. Self-contained, doesn't improve. Yes, yet one final lap, and that's the checker flag. Checker flag and qualifying over. Let's see now the last attempt to try to slot. Volkmann stays P6 behind Godfrey. Let's see. Hernandez, Sharp, Irish have all closed their qualifying session. We'll see about Grace and Godfrey in a few seconds. They claim some positions up, even to try to point to the front row of the grid. Grace closes up, and it's P3 by the Ferrari driver. Great lap by him. He manages to stay ahead of Irish, which will now stays in the second row. But let's see if Godfrey will manage. A little surprise by the end. Let's see Godfrey. He improved, but it's not enough. He stays in P5. Monderweg in the Lamborghini, that's a surprising lap, puts his Huracan into P11. Let's see if there are any other Turn left, Haji Barnes goes into P17 ahead of his teammate or car manufacturer mate, Sefontaine, who's not pushing anymore. Let's see now. Rainer Koto. Koto is out of the track, but I don't think it's a fastest time, so that will start at the back of the grid. And so, without any surprises, I think it's Sergio Hernandez who claimed again another pole position in the season 21 of the Taco Tuesday series, Tier 1, and Hernandez with a great lap, with a great hit at the end of the stage with 2 minutes, 0 seconds, 0.8 hundredths of a second. And that's enough for him to secure pole position. Sharp will start in the front row alongside him. Morgan Grace Irish on the second row of the grid. Then Ferreira and Godfroy in the third row with Mercedes and McLaren. Volcom Ack 7 and 8. Tulloch and Matteo De Angelis in P9 and P10. A great grid and an even great race. I await us just in a few moments for the start of the formation lap. I will see you back shortly for the start of round 2 of the Taco Tuesday series in Mont Panorama. Welcome back here in Mont Panorama. We're here at the starting grid for imminent formation lap for round 2 of the Mount Panorama Championship, of the Taco Tuesday Championship in season 21. And we're here with the starting grid. Sergio Hernandez again on pole position, as it was Chiellami 7 days ago. Sharp on the front row. A great effort by the British driver who will try, Johnny Sharp, to spike Sergio Hernandez right from the start. Morgan Grace and Irish on the second row. Ferreira and Godfroy on the third row. Volkmann and Ike, two look at the engines running up the top 10. Then Monowek, Sharp, German, King, Gerdig, Walzer, and all the others. As we now approach the 30 seconds mark, down to 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Last moment for setting up the cars, their fuel, their tires, and be ready for the Battle of the Mountain.
10 seconds.
Last time that we faced the Battle of the Mountain in Mount Panorama for Tier 1, it was won by Rafael Arruda in the Aston Martin Vantage. It was in season 19. So let's see if someone will succeed. The throne of the mountain, the throne of Bathurst, as all the drivers begin the formation lap. They're all underway, they're all getting underway. It's the last attempt to warm up the tires and brakes for the 60 minutes that will await us. Of course, not the optimal of the condition, as we have cloudy all over the New South Wales circuit in Australia, but of course no rain, no risk of rain involved today in Bathurst. So we'll be seeing a pure race of skill, of testament, dedication, and strategy about who will stop first, who will manage to stay longer, and we'll see who will manage to get on top of the podium spot. Of course, a hi also to the admin German, who's again participating, is P25 ahead of the DK Mountain Class winner Mike Ostol. Of course, we'll be waiting all to see. Well, they will end up as Samuel Giambino round up the grid in P34. He joked on the Discord channel about him being the new Lance Stroll. Of course, it's a big family, one of the Formula Racing League community, and so they all joke about their performance. At the end, it's important to stay sharp and stay clean, because in Bathurst, up the mountain, anything can happen. Of course, we have to see also between the one that will start a little bit behind, like Pospisil, because remember, it was one to watch in round 1 at Chiellami. He finished in a valiant P7 after starting behind, and the Czech driver will try to climb up the grid from P20. This time he starts ahead of Ostol, while Godfroy, another one to watch, because finishes second in the battle rate of season 19. Now he starts in P6 and will aim to be again on the podium spot for the second time in a row here at Mount Panorama. Of course, the reference is still Sergio Hernandez, once again on pole position on its white and black and orange McLaren. The Spanish driver will aim to try to get the win that he saw it vanish his book in South Africa for his own mistake. This time on Panorama, there will be no mistake, because if you go to the wall, there is no victory risk only, but there will be also the entire race. So watch out for the mountain, and watch out for the stems, watch out for the others, where you go up to the skyline and down to the dipper. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all expect a clean, fair race, but also an exciting one as we now approach the chase chicane. Turn number 21 and 22. And we're waiting for the start of the race. Reminder, Sergio Hernandez on pole position ahead of Sharp. We start alongside him, then Morgan Grace, Irish, Ferreira, Godfroy, Volkmann, Ack, Tudok, and De Angelis in the top 10. And then the other others to watch also: Sharp in P12, King in P14, Hedgeman set for time, P17, P8, Pospisil in P20. Now they all approach the final corner and they're all ready to go for the second round of Taco Tuesday Season 21 Tier 1 here at Mont Panorama Circuit. It's a round we all await and it gets underway. Look at the start of Sharp, who already challenges Hernandez into turn 1. Let's see who will manage to get ahead. It's still Hernandez. It is still face to face, and some crashes in the back of the grid. I see one McLaren and one Ferrari. We see then who was involved in the crash. Luckily no more, but Hernandez and Sharp are still fighting hard for the top spot. It seems like Hernandez is again taking all wide, almost reaching to brush his 720S GT3 into the wall. And there's another crash just after turn 2. Let's see who it was. It was car number 65, I think. It was Tulok. Tulok after, and Tulok is sideways. Shame for the Bentley driver, while after was one of the car who got thrown out in the opening turn crash. Hernandez now leading the operation ahead of Sharp, then Grace, Irish in P4, Godfroy manages to pass the Portuguese driver Ferreira for P5, then Ark, Volkmann, De Angelis up into P10 ahead of Sharpie. Good start also by the Italian driver, but for now Spain remains ahead at this trial again to set up a little distance with him and the others. So we'll see if Hernandez will manage to claim back a victory here in the Taco Tuesday series, while Sharp really trying to follow the tail of the McLaren. English comfortable in P3 in his Bentley. The Switzer Racing League driver will have to defend by a very aggressive Morgan Grace, who has flashed him a few times and wants. Look out for Grace. He almost break with two wheels on the grass. Not the ideal when approaching turn 1. Someone is already in the pit lane with a yellow flag. I think he stays the car number 65 or 2 look. That's a real shame for him. I think that means race over and nothing you can do about that. Just a shame. Let's hope he gets back into action, while another Sharp pick up the pace, and Irish is left behind to defend from Morgan Grace. Look out behind Ferreira, the Portuguese driver is hosting a train, which now they're entering Ark, Volkmann and De Angelis from P6 to P9. And we see there will be many some sort of mistakes, some openings behind them. Also in the central group. Also let's see behind Hedgeman with a good start as well. He's climbed up to P15 as he's already behind Gerling to try to pressure him. The power of the horsepower of the Mustang will certainly help, but the steering, the corner beat is not very much. In fact, he fallen behind Gerling by a few times. That can manage to make him vulnerable to water as they approach the chase corners. Let's see if the Betty will get down the side, but nothing. Hedgeman stays into P15. Pospisil is already up into P18 and already pressurized. Self-Fontaine from P17 and he's down the inside of the Murray's corner. He almost made it. He has to bail out, staying at P18. Already aggressive, the Czech driver who tries a comeback. Well ahead, Hernandez already with the fastest lap time of the race. Already setting it to the distance. 2.3 seconds of gap between him and Sharp, who is comfortable for now in second place. And that's a really, really clean drive by Hernandez. Almost looking like a driver who's trying to make up for his mistakes at Kyalami 1 week ago. Let's see if he'll manage eventually to get hold of himself, hold of his excitation, anticipation, and to stay in the first place. Look at then, look at Godfrey, who slowed down, and now he's the one at the top end of the train. At the top of the train, I wanted to say. Godfrey, Ferreira, Ack, Volkmann, De Angelis. It's 5 cars in less than 3 seconds or so. And look at Ferreira, who's already trying to take all the slipstream of the McLaren to try and attack on the Belgian driver to finish it second in the last Taco Tuesday event at Bathurst. Now he had to defend for 5th place. Ferreira tries to see on his side from the mirrors, but nothing to do. Godfrey holds on to the top 5 spot, while De Angelis behind is trying to overtake Volkmann, but Volkmann really aggressive on the inside on his defense. And they have to stay alert, because now Adam Sharpie is closing on them with the McLaren, and behind there also Jack King trying to take advantage of the situation. Ferreira and Godfrey already back again on the duel for P5. They at the Griffin Bend, and he tries on the outside Ferreira, but there's no space whatsoever. Ferreira has to bail out again, and let's see if Ack will manage to get closer, but we're entering into the twist part of the section through the cutting. Up ahead, it's all twisted, no possibility of overtake whatsoever. They have to be patient, and to try to play the cards well, because it's not easy to overtake at Monte Panorama. If you do one single mistake, you risk ruining your race, and the others one behind them who might manage to connect you into crashes, spectacular crashes. As it was, for example, the last edition of the 12 hours of Bathurst. Hopefully that's not the case tonight. For now, he stays all stationary in the first position. Not seeing any chance of overtakes for now. Hopefully we'll have them later in this race. Maybe Volkmann De Angelis will try to revive the action. Into the chase, De Angelis again putting pressure on Volkmann, but he makes the mistake. Bang! Big shot into the barriers for the Italian driver, who now has to restart and will be losing a lot of places. He's back between Brown, Post, Asco, and now it's being overtaken by Kalugin. Just a shame for De Angelis, who was on the run for a top 10 place, but now it's just all ruined, and he has to come into the pits for repairs at the front hood, the front part of this machinery. Godfrey for now takes up into P5, while Irish aiming to reduce the gap between him and Sharp to try and attack to at least a second place. It seems some sort of deja vu. Well, when Agash was behind the car for second place and has lost a little bit of time by Sergio Hernandez. But then after the pit stop, Agash put more pressure, trying to reduce the gap from the Spanish driver. And the last one makes a mistake, and Agash took the lead. That's what happened. Where we can go in Kyalami. Let's see if there will be a repeat of what happened on this, or if this time Hernandez will manage to hold on to his currently P1. Now, a watch between the central group with King, German, with Monowek, Gerding, Walter, Edgemans, all together in the P12 fight. While Pospisil has overtaken Brown and is now up into P17. Good stuff by the next driver on the Porsche, who's now aiming on the two Ford Mustangs ahead. Let's see now. Just Monoweg getting Wooder, all fighting up for P12. And Pospisil right up inside, he tried to surprise Saint-Fontaine on the inside of the chase, but there was no room, and Pospisil maybe made a little bit of contact, but he had to stay back. The Mustang Saint-Fontaine stay P17 for now. Just already you can see on the run to try to getting more overtakes than possible in the first stages of the race. Behind us, we see again some fight, I think, between Poster and Rastago. Let's see now Walter again on the outside of Gerling. Oh, he continues to slide with the rear tires. And Edgemans must say thank you very much and try to take advantage of the situation on the outside. About look at this, from the cutting to the 20th corner, but Hegemans, we have to bail out again and stay in P14. But that was really something. While Pospisil already pressuring again, Saint-Fontaine putting pressure on the Mustang ahead because Gordon Brown is the same, putting pressure from the Formula Racing League admin to try to climb up the grid. Of course, it would be not easy. Again, not very much room to overtake, especially in the central part of the Monte Panorama circuit. And then, if you're not like a Mustang against the Ginetta on the top straight, you overtake because there's no really slow corners. All the corners of this track, apart from 1, 2, you can see. Oh, Gordon Brown makes a mistake. He almost lost it and collected Pospisil. That's a mistake from Brown. I don't know if I spoke about him at the commentator's cursor set in motion, but Brown had a moment at the chase and almost collected Pospisil. Lucky for the track driver, it was not the case. But Gordon Brown's race is a compromise at the shot down the order into P27 behind Cotto. Luckily, he didn't have any damage on his Ferrari. Back at the fight for P5 with Godfrey holding off Ferreira, Hack and Volkmann. A four-way battle. Really interesting to watch. Let's see now from the perspective of one of the drivers. Let's see from the German Hack in the Porsche number 22. And we have one of the cameras, let's say, on Hack for a few minutes of onboard action. And I just realized now that I stayed with the mute on the microphone, so for I say a long 10 minutes you didn't hear me. You thought that maybe I went to bathroom or some emergencies, but I simply forgot to put out the mute button on the controller. So I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. You probably lost what I said between the accident, the costly deer, especially with I think it was Gelling or Volkman, yeah, as Monoweg Koto now at the pit. I'm really sorry for that. I almost forgot. The tension in the race was so palpable, and that was almost embarrassing from my side, and I'm really sorry again. Doesn't change the fact that, oh, and another mistake for Seguin Dandes. I said, Seguin Dandes into the wall. At the end, Forest elbow, and certainly the car picked up some damage. And Sharp is now 1.6, 7 seconds lost, and will be more with the pit stop that we have to face the Spanish driver, and that's all over again because I said already, I'm not a fast driver, but he tends to make mistakes. When you don't expect from him, and so again the race for the victory is on as Sharp now is behind only 1.1 second, but Shedald has picked up some damage. That is making the difference between winning and losing. Irish will manage now that he see Hernandez on the striking distance. We see now we're talking. And so Morgan Grace does as he's in the fight for the podium places. Really is the same old situation for the Spanish driver. Look at the state of the car, especially the front body work. Now we have to see what will Sharp do, knowing that he is faster than Hernandez. It is a car in better condition than Hernandez, but the Spanish driver will probably try not to yield until his pit stop. Let's see what the strategy will be. And if it changes, there's a yellow flag after the deeper. Car number 4042 on Monoweg facing the wrong side of the track. So again, like I saw with Volkman, worst place possible. And Nandes lapping a car, which I think is Volkman. It is a Sharp right behind him, 1.2 tenths, but it's really narrow now, the gap between the two. Anything can happen. Let's see if Sergio Hernandez will continue to stay on track, but if Sharp will manage to overtake. For now, Hernandez continues. I think he wants to put his money on the track position for now. We'll see. It will be an offer for him as one Mercedes comes out to the pit. It's the one of Rainer, who's now, I think, is P27 behind Müller. Look at Sharp. Oh, almost a moment for a Ferrari driver who was almost like went oversteer in the braking zone. But now look, it's really onto his tail. It's really on the tail of Hernandez. And it's pointing up to try to make an attack or try to force the Spanish driver into a mistake. Watch out for Rainey. who goes wide and decides, no, I have to cut down every mistake by Hernandez, who goes into the BAM and goes into the barriers. Big shot for Hernandez, and so sharp, takes the lead of the race. Another mistake by Hernandez, the second in few minutes, and this race is completely gone. Now the amount of damage the Spanish driver have will be possible. He went straight into the pits, and so I think his race is over. That's a real shame by the poleman. 2 pole position 2 times will not win the race. Look out! Irish is now entering the pits. He's trying to put the pressure on Sharp to try to take back, to try to take the lead of the race. And then in the latter stages of the race, Sharp and Grace left in first and second place. Arc will provisionally be put onto P3. And look at also Ferrega and Woozer decide it's time for the pit stop. While Pospisil is still behind, stuck behind the rear of the Serpentine's Mustang, now in P13, that will become P9 after the stops of Irish Ferrega and Woozer. Now will be P10, but still for Pospisil a tricky situation because he cannot manage to stay behind Serpentine any longer, so he will try an overtake. And look, another mistake, a car that, that's a Lamborghini. I see what it is, and maybe it's motorweg. It is a motorweg set stationary. Yes, it is. Back to Serpentine Pospisil. The fight now for P9 until their pit stop. The Czech driver started from P20. It's trying to climb up the grid, but if he wants to make any progress, we'll have to get past Serpentine, while the master driver, of course, is doing this race to try to take a... Look at Pospisil, you already see how confident, how aggressive is he on the braking zone, and that's a Ferrari that was really scratching the wall of the Quarry's corner of the fourth elbow. Now Pospisil Serpentine through the chase, Sharp into the pits. So I have to see where was Sharp will enter in confront of Irish, who's now exiting the first elbow into the corner straight. And also Godfrey Sharp into the pits, so 3 drivers into the pits. We'll see how this develops. While Pospisil in turn 1 tries the inside, but it's not yet enough by the Porsche driver to get the better of Serpentine. Sharp completed his pit stop. And we started. Irish is coming now into the final corner, the Murray's corner. We see Sharp is not yet at the end, but is close to taking off the speed limit, and Sharp stays ahead of Irish, I suggest by 2 seconds. That will become eventually 1 second by the end of the straight.
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
Halfway point mark of the race. Oh, and there's a mistake by Pospisil. And he's gone slamming into the wall with his rear wing on the cutting. And there was too aggressiveness and tried to overtake Serpentine, who takes P6, and so Pospisil will have to bail out. He's behind even Goodman in 11th. While let's see Godfrey behind Sharpie Ferreira again. Oh, no, it's not again. So Godfrey has lost a couple of places. Not an optimal strategy for the Belgian driver. And Ferreira really putting pressure on Sharpie, who climbed up in, I think, the most positions for now. Oh, it almost went wide. He almost threw out his race. With two wheels onto the curb on the outside. He wanted to throw it away. Luckily he saved it, and so he stayed ahead of Sharpie. Most importantly, he stayed in the race. King, Heisman, Fontaine, Kalugin into the pits now. So sooner or later, the right ranking will be reestablished. For now, Grace continues alongside Ake, trying to take advantage of the free track ahead of them. While King re-enters onto the track, and this alongside Woolser. Let's see who will manage to get ahead by the corner, but it's Woolser. It's Woolser ahead of King by the tiniest of margins. Let's see, Woolser into P9, King P10. But I'm seeing now Mike Austin, the winner of the DK Motocross event, for now stationing in P18 with Aston Martin. Ake into the pits. He decided, I do not want to stay on track for any longer. And so it's Gearman. And so we have to see where will Ake finish compared to Sharp and Irish, who are now separated each other by just 1 second. A well track position is key. Let's see. We managed to get the better up. Sharp and Irish after the chase, entering the Moonrise corner, while Ake is still stationary on the pit lane. He restarts now, but will be behind Sharp and English by a long margin. He come out ahead with it, so P8 for now for Ake. Waiting, of course, for the other cars. No, will be P6, considering Gearman and Postel has come into the pits as well in this lap. And we have to see what will be the strategy by Morgan Grace, who's yet to pit. And seemingly is trying to take advantage of the free track to push and to take many risks as possible to extend its advantage. We see it will come up into the head, but I think the moment of the stop is near. Yes, he comes into the pits. So Morgan Grace with the pit stop now after 25 minutes from the end of the race. And so we have to see whether he'll come ahead from Sharp and Dagish. It's the battle for the podium places, potentially the battle for the victory. Let's see if Brown and Goodman will enter the pits as well in the Ferrari and Porsche. Let's see now. Brown seems, yes, he comes into the pits. He comes into the pits, while Goodman comes into the pits as well. Grace still stationary. And now he completed the pit stop, but he's at the start of the pit lane, while Sharp and Daigash have already passed him. So Sharp officially retakes the lead of the race. Let's see if Grace can stay ahead or behind of Arco or not. It will be close. It might be close. Let's see. And there they come. And Grace is ahead of Arc. But let's see if Arc can take advantage of his hot tires and his faster speed exit to try to take back position from the Ferrari driver. Jokadir try into the inside of Griffith's bed, but Ake has to bail out, so it's behind Grace. We manage for now to stay in P3 with Ake in P4. And so now, Sharp is in the lead of the race, aiming to claim his first victory of the season. It will be real good for him, considering he did not participate. Johnny Sharp, he did not participate on round 1 of the event. He did not manage to take part. He only took part in the Super Sprint Sunday with 2 DNFs. And imagine if he wins it at the Taco Tuesday from Johnny Sharp. That would be really, really good from his side. But of course, for Sharp, it will be not an easy task, because Irish is right behind him, trying to take any opportunity he can to try to win the race. Meanwhile, let's see if we have a few battles. Ferreira and Sharpie between P8 and P9. The Portuguese driver trying to follow the British in McLaren and to force him into mistake for taking P8. And again, the same Lamborghini, the same one of Monuweg, the same driver, stopped after the skyline. And that's really race going wrong and wronger and wronger as the time goes. As he now stopped, and I don't think he will restart again. That's a real shame from him. And watch out for Irish, already in dogfight mode, with his flashing onto the Ferrari ahead of Sharp, trying to put in pressure and try to then an attack for him to take first place in Mount Panorama. Let's see if he'll manage, as his Bentley managed to approach the Ferrari ahead, but Irish for now, who managed to begin the technical section of the circuit behind the British driver, then jump on board of the Bentley Continental for the hunt on the victory. you can see Irish being very aggressive, pushing his car to the limit and beyond, and trying to put pressure on the shop by lighting him up with his front lights, but the British driver seemingly having none of it so far. Well, let's see. Godfrey trying again to stay closer to Ferreira. We have the first comment of the night by Clay T5564. Say go Moggs and Godfrey, and of course because of you I put my eyes now on Godfrey, who's in P9. Remember, was on the podium last time the Taco Tuesday season. Make a visit to Bathurst. He claimed P2, but seemingly we not get a podium today. While the other car, one of Moggs, I don't know who Moggs was. I think he refers to Hack. I think might be wrong, but just to stay sure. No, it was a Monostak, the Ukrainian driver, who's now P4. Well, behind them, just to put some spotlight to Mike Austin, winner of the DK Monte class event, now P15 with automatic, ahead of the big BMW of Cold Pits, of the Lamborghini retired driver Samuele Gerbino. Of course, from the Italian side, Gerbino P17. Then we had Dino in P22. Unfortunately, De Angelis had crashed while he was in fight for a spot in the top 10. Unlucky for him. And unlucky also for Pospisil. He was a protagonist, Kyodami, with a great comeback, but now after a crash, he's stationary in P23rd. P25th, sorry. Back up front, Sharp seemingly managing to resist at the pressure of Sharp. 40 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. And Sharp and Daggers separated by half a second. It will not be a battle about who will be faster or who will be aggressive on the brakes. It will be, at this point, a battle on nerves. Because Sharp and Daggers, the one that will fall first, is the one that will lose this race. And watch out, because up ahead they have some back marker cars, so we might see some blue flags in a few minutes. Back now from Colpitts and Austin. Battle for P16 and P15. The BMW driver, Colpitts, with the first race, like Colpitts. Manager P23 is now aiming to the top 15. Of course, not simple, because as I said, the same, Verstappen and Irish, at this point, it's a battle of nerves, and you have to avoid any mistakes in any point of the track. Up ahead, looking at Postel and Sefontaine, with the Ferrari driver trying to come closer to the pair of Mustang with Hegeman's P12, Sefontaine in 30th place. And so Postel will try to get closer, try and attack on one of the Ford Mustangs up ahead. If it is not at all simple. I've got watch. Look, Irish is trying to move on the inside of the Griffith bird. Let's see if he will resist out till he has the outside. He resists, and Irish manages to claim the lead of the race. Great work by the Bentley driver. Irish is again leading the race after Kyalami. He claimed the leadership of this race with the same method as it was in South Africa. 7 days with Irish waiting for first part, not really extraordinary, but then try to push on, get better and better times, and taking advantage of the mistake of the others. And now Irish is in the lead, ahead of Sharp. We'll see if the German driver will manage to get 2 out of 2 and claim a strong leadership of the rankings just after 2 rounds of the Taco Tuesday Season 21 Tier 1 Championship. That will be really, really interesting to see. Now watching for the hack, and he has some damages, some visible damage on the bodywork of this Porsche. We have to see as King is now approaching really closer, so Hack must have made a mistake. And someone is off. Number 34 is the post position. Another mistake by the Czech driver, but our eyes are all on Hack and the others as Hack and some visible damages. Maybe on the driver we saw, and look at Jack King aimed to put his name into the top 5, and he does. The move on the inside of Murray's corner, and so it's P5. Let's see if Hack tries again on the counter attack, but he had no other weapons. He had no other weapons to try to respond, and so now he stays P6, but could even lose any more position as we progress. As Gerling now approaches near the Porsche driver. Nine minutes left on the clock, and Irish is already putting ahead 1 second gap on Sharp. And now we see getting it Hack seemingly struggled in the corners. Real problems on this Porsche. Look at Gerling and Hack that is through. Gerling up into P6. The final stretch of the race is turning into a nightmare for the Ukrainian driver. Now hoping that he won't lose any more places. And look at the braking, really almost exactly, almost collecting the behind of Gerling. That's real lucky for the Ferrari driver, who manages to stay in a really well-earned P6, while Ake now has to look at the videos for Ferreira, the Portuguese driver. Will, I think, will eventually manage to get P7 just in a matter of seconds, because of the damages that Ake reported on the twist of the mounted session. But Ferreira has made a small mistake as well. Godfrey trying to come closer to the Portuguese driver, try again an attack for him for P8 and potentially P7. While behind, we see Postel still behind Serpentine, Colpitz still behind Oster. Don't think we see many overtakes. The ones that will arrive will be primarily to do mistakes of others in the latter stages of the race, while Ake still resisting for P7. But how long will the fans be? Look at Ferreira, the speed that carries into the corners. Ferreira takes a P6, and now that Ake is in between them, that could prove vital importance for the Mercedes driver, as Godfrey is stuck behind Ake. If he doesn't manage to overtake him in a few corners, he might lose some precious time between him and Ferreira. Let's see if Godfrey will manage to get past we'll get past now. And look at this from the outside as they enter the chase. Ake cannot put up a defense, and so Godfrey is up into 8th place, and Ake goes wide into the grass. That's the state of this race. That's the state of this race. At this point, he just wants to play safe and see the checker flag. He has no intention to come into the pit because he knows that he will lose much more position that he already is losing. So let's see, Ake, P11, look. Oh, the Ferrari in the back marker, and it's collected Gilman. What is happening? What is happening? Gilman manages to re-enter the track, even behind Ake, but what was that? I don't know who it was, because it was, I think, a lapped Ferrari, but that was really unnecessary. But Hafner and Volkmann are retired and both into the pits. Hopefully Ake can hold on to try to claim at least a top 10 place. While ahead of them, not any more battles. Maybe Godfrey can manage to claim back Ferreira, but it's a tough task for the German driver. The jump on board with him for the last time on board with Godfrey. And so we enter the final lap with Agesh. Now on his way to the second victory in a row after one on race 1 at Calgary. It is again a win, a substance, consistency and clean drive by the German driver, who again was not the fastest, but again he made sure to push, to stay clean, avoid the incident and make up for every opportunity that presented to him. And then once again it will be a win that will manage to put him in a strong position in the championship. And that's just to give him a bigger cheers, a big round of applause, because that's the stuff we champion drivers do. And he did not win casually a title in season 16 with 5 victories in 6 races. And for now, it's 2 out of 2, so you have to watch him. Maybe there's a little battle in the other stage. Maybe Ferreira tried to get ahead of Gerding. And Gierman again on the back of Hack. But these are all battles that interest relatively. Let's see if Maggie Gierman can claim back the 10th place on Hack. And try to get the end for track limits for Monderweg is P28. So not really anything can come. And there's a yellow flag again. One car that went the crash. It was an Audi that was destroyed. But now let's see Agesh, who cut the checker flag and wins race 2 at Mont Panorama. Unbelievable drive by Agesh. It's 2 out of 2. The German driver will manage to stay on top. Sharp comes home in second place with Grace rounding up a podium in P3. Great drive by the Ferrari. Walter will claim P4 ahead of King and Gerding, while Hack will manage to stay ahead of Gierman unless he makes a mistake now, but I don't think he can, and that's valiant for the Hungarian driver. Gerding P6, Ferreira 7 ahead of Godfrey. Hasgo is 9th, and Hack, even with sort of damage, manages to salvage up and report at the top 10 place ahead of Gimmons. Then we see the 2-fold Mustang of Hagemans ahead of Saint-Fontaine. Posted in P14. Mike Costo, the winner of DK Monteclass, will manage to see the checker flag in P15 ahead of Gordon Brown. Then Samuele Gerbino, P17, Calogin, P18, Mueller, P19, Gedman, the FRL admin in P20, Bedino, P21, the Colpitz, Popsy, Blaish, Hafner, Volkmar, Colton, Bondeweg, Rainer, to round up the rankings of today's race. But the glory, the headlines of the newspaper of the Formula Racing League will come again to Agesh, who wins race 2, claims the second victory in a row, and that's just absolute great stuff by the Bentley driver, who will again extend his championship lead. And it's the reference point for all the other drivers. Agesh P1, Sharp in P2, Grace P3, the Walter, King, Gerding, Ferreira, Godfrey, Haskell, Hack, and the others rounding up the top 10. And as you can see at the rankings, it was not about who was the fastest, but the one who was cleanest, and the one who made up for every opportunity. And so Agesh wins again. Let's see who will stop him in just 7 days when Taco Tuesday will return to Zolder for a 90-minute special round where the tension will be high and the resistance, the physical point of these drivers will be put at great endurance, great test. But for now, Agesh is the leader, is the one that sets the pace onwards. And for today, from Bon Panorama, it's all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting us. As I said again, when I was muted again, sorry very much. It was my fault. Thanks again to all the Patreon members who support Formula Racing League and its activities and its live streaming. It's with you that we make it all possible. So I really hope that you support if you want to see our Patreon page. And we'll see you again in 7 days when Taco Tuesday will land in Europe, starting with the Zolder trial at Baggio for the 90-minute special. I'm Andrea Mattarelli, and it has been a pleasure to comment here from Mount Panorama. Good night.